It's Miss Greta today with Keep Cott County Beautiful. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about paper recycling. We've already talked about this a little bit this year. And I'm going to show you a cool way that you can make your own paper. So we know, right, that our paper is made from trees and we need trees to live. So that's one important reason to recycle your paper, so that we're killing less trees, right? And I just wanted to share a little fact with you all about paper recycling. Actually started way back with the colonists. There was an act that was passed called the Stamp Act of 1765, in which the Parliament of Great Britain, who still controlled our colonies here, the British colonies in America, required all the printed materials in the colonies to be produced on stamped paper that was produced in London and carried a revenue. So they taxed all of the paper. So that was one of the reasons that we first began recycling paper way back a long time ago. And of course, we know that recycling is when we recover the used products and we turn it into new products, right? And when we make new paper, then it can be put in our old homework, or our old newspapers might become parts of books, or they might become parts of new textbooks or new notebook paper, all sorts of things. So today, I'm going to show you, if you want to make paper yourself, you can take your old paper. I've got some little scraps here. This is just right out of our recycle bin. You'll take your old paper, and you can use anything, your homework paper. You just want to make sure it's regular paper. I've got some Post-it notes, little records, and you're going to rip it up into little tiny shreds. You want to get it pretty small in there. We need our paper. We'll need a blender. We'll need some water, just a little bit of water. And if you've got like a pan, or we're going to use some small little plates here. In the big paper recycling factories, they have big frames that they use to make the paper. So they're going to take that paper we're going to recycle, and we're going to rip it up into lots of little tiny pieces. And for us, at home, we're going to put it in our blender. And now, when we make paper from trees, we take the fibers in the trees and mix it with water and make a kind of a pulp. But when we're recycling paper, we're taking our old paper, we're going to mix it with our little strips of paper are kind of like our fibers, and we're going to mix it with water to make something that's going to be like it's called a slurry when we mix it together with that water. I think I've probably got about enough. Let's see. Let's finish this page right here. So you're going to rip all your paper into little bitty shreds. And if you have got some different colors paper to add in there, it'll make your paper even prettier. All right, when you got your paper in your blender, and of course I'm sure you all know that you need an adult supervision to do this. You need help from a grown-up. We're going to pour a little water in there. Let's just start with a little bit, and then we'll add some more here in a minute. Now this is going to get kind of loud, so we're going to turn our blender on. And you might have to get kind of messy. We gotta get that paper off the sides there so it can all get chopped up real nice and fine for our slurry. How we're looking. Oh, it looks pretty good. All those papers are chopped up, mixed in with that water, making a nice slurry. Now, we're gonna scoop some of this out onto, we've got plates, but in a factory they would put it on a big frame. We're gonna scoop some of this out of here onto our plate. And now we're gonna soak up the water. You could use a sponge I'm just gonna use some paper towels. We're gonna use either a sponge or a towel with paper towels to soak up the water out of there. So we're gonna press it flat and let it soak up that water to get the moisture out of there. You'll need to do this a few times. We've got a pretty green color going on here. I kind of like it. Nice pastel green to our paper. So if you do this with paper from your recycling bin, try to mix in some different color paper to make it nice and colorful instead of just an old gray. We're going to press it real flat. And whatever mold you put your paper in is what shape you're going to have. So if you put it in a little square pan, you can have a square shaped paper. My little round plate's going to make us a little round piece of paper. You want to keep pressing it flat and squeezing that water out until it's mostly dry. We're going to press it as flat as we can get it. Try to get all those lumps out of there. I'm going to go one more time. All right, once you've soaked much of the water as you can get out of it and you've pressed it nice and flat in there, you're going to just leave this to dry. Leave it to dry overnight. And then the next day you can come back and you can peel that. It'll be all nice and dry, and you'll have a pretty sheet of paper there that you can color, you can use for decorations. If you use a big frame, you can even cut it into little sheets, make cards out of it. And you can also, when it's at this stage right here, when we're getting ready to press it down with our paper towel or our sponge, you could add little leaves or little flowers, or if we're doing this here in March, we've got our St. Patrick's Day coming up. Maybe you could find some little clovers or shamrocks. If you get lucky, you might even find a 4-leaf clover. You could press that down in there with it, and maybe if it does just right, maybe as it dries, that can become part of your decorative paper there. All right, so I hope some of y'all might get to do that on your own with your parents or with a teacher. And you can also try it if you don't have a blender. You could try doing it if you chop it up really super fine. Maybe you take your scissors and cut it up really super fine and mix it up by yourself. You could do that even if you don't have a blender at home. You could make your own paper by chopping it into little tiny pieces with your scissors and mixing it with some water and pressing it down just like we did onto a nice hard surface. Leave it to dry overnight. You can probably do that without the machinery all on your own. And I want you to try to remember to make sure that if you can, that you're recycling your paper in your classroom and at home. Make sure that all those old notebooks and papers and all our homework papers, our newspapers, old magazines, all that stuff is getting put in with the mixed paper and getting recycled so that it can be made into new paper and we can save our trees. Okay, I hope y'all have fun watching this video, and remember to recycle. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.